He seemed to be also speaking to the Boysen's officers. After a moment, Warrant Officer Mukhana went to the Boysen's buggy with one of the officers who came with the buggy, and he seemed to be holding a cordoning tape. Warrant Officer Mukhana, along with one of the Boysen's officers, cordoned from one end of the trailer which was carrying a container, then to the other where the truck was parked. Then within 30 minutes of the arrival of the red Kia, a flying squad car came, followed by another gentleman whom I later learned to be Warrant Officer Rekotso. Yet he seemed to have parked elsewhere as he walked down towards the scene. Then another buggy marked DIA Tactical Response drove in. They seemed to be engaging with Chief Mashaba. Then at some point of the gentleman from the DIA security car had an object handed over to Chief Mashaba. Then immediately Warrant Officer Rekotso intervened and handed back the object to the security guy. A moment later, another flying squad car drove in, followed by a marked dog unit Polo. From then, a plethora of cars started driving in. I also observed that upon the arrival of multiple police units, tension started increasing at the scene. One of the flying squad members, Sergeant Mahoya, came to the vehicle and asked if I was there with Chief Mashaba, and I indicated that I was, and the one who provided the information, he told me that General Khan was on his way and left. A moment later, another entourage of cars drove in. They seemed to be accompanying, this meant one. They seem to be accompanying one, not on. They seem to be accompanying one person. As soon as the gentleman stepped out of his car, Sergeant Mukhoba rushed to him alongside with Warrant Officer Rekotso. Then they took the gentleman to an older gentleman whom I later learned to be Mr. Rickard. After they spoke, the gentleman who came with the entourage of cars went straight towards the scene, and I saw him opening Warrant Officer Mukhana's door. Then Warrant Officer Mukhana went to sit inside his car. Then he seemed to proceed to speak with the officer who came on the red Kia, and he left him. As that officer seemed to be taking a statement from the lady whom Chief Mashaba and Warrant Officer Mukhana found at the Scania warehouse, the gentleman who came with the entourage spoke to Chief Traffic Officer Mashaba, then walked Chief Mashaba towards his car. Then, after Sergeant Mukhoba pointed at me in the car, he brought that gentleman towards the car. The gentleman introduced himself as General Firoz Khan, asked who I was and what was my business there. At that time, I was holding my phone, taking videos for record keeping. I told him that I was the source and that I was the one who gave Chief Mashaba the information. He immediately instructed for a Captain Cronier to be called and that I must be arrested. He told me I must give my phones and step out of the car. When Captain Cronier came, General Firoz Khan left. I asked Captain Cronier the reason for my arrest, and he told me that he is simply following an instruction. My phones were placed in an exhibit bag. Captain Cronier instructed me to go back and sit in the car.
Sorry. There may be problems with transcription there. With your paper rattling against your mic. Maybe start from, I asked Captain Cronier the reason for my arrest. And please make sure that your paper does not hit the mic.
Okay, so apologies, Chair.
The second last sentence, I asked Captain Cronje to, or rather, page 3, the previous page.
The previous page. Oh, I asked Captain Cronje the reasons for my arrest, and he told me he's simply following an instruction. My phones were placed in an exhibit bag. Though Captain Cronje instructed me to go back and sit in the car, he had instructed for me to give my keys to one of the flying squad officers who came before Sergeant Makgoboya. Much later, around 1:30, another officer came to me and told me the reasons for my arrest. I told him that I was the source and that had provided the information. He told me that we will talk properly at Boysens. He called LCRC along with a Sergeant Pume to take search and take photos of the vehicle. Sergeant Pume asked me if I had any goods in the car. I told him that I only had about 60,000 in cash, which formed part of my traveling expenses, which was stored in the vehicle's center console. I opened it and handed it over to him. This was when I became aware that three other people, including myself, were arrested. After Captain Sibola walked me towards the Boysens buggy, I was introduced to Warrant Officer Steve Pagula, who was also placed under arrest. Warrant Officer Mohana indicated that he is the one who called Pagula and that the arrest is apologies, Chair. The arrest is shocking because Warrant Officer Pagula is the one who called other role players such as Doc Unit and DPCI SANEP National Office members, and that Warrant Officer Mohana, was the one. Apologies there. There's a typo error. I meant was the one, not the ones. One who called LCRC to the scene using the Boysen state phone, and that a Colonel Maluleka from DPCI National confirmed to General Khan that he was in charge, as Warrant Officer Pagula was in the process of handing the scene over to him, yet that was disregarded.
Mr. Nku, just an explanation. When you say that the money that you had with you was part of your traveling expenses, was it for the Durban-Johannesburg assignment that you were doing? Or what do you...
So basically, Chair, whenever I would travel, in a trip to acquire information or source information, I would travel discreetly. So the money wasn't necessarily for the operation, but I happen to have had cash with me, albeit that cash belonged to the business. It wasn't my money. Yes.
All right, no, thank you.
Yeah. We were.
You can start where you say we were placed behind the Boysen's buggy.
We were placed behind the Boysen's buggy, and much later on, we were taken out. And some of the bags which were loaded on the Nissan buggy had already been opened. The DPCI officers opened about 10 bags, while counting each duffel bag had about 35 bricks each. The total count of those bags amounted to 350, and all the bags seemed to be packaged in a similar manner. After the counting of those 10 bags, we were then placed back in the Boysen's buggy. We subsequently left the scene around about 7 p.m. We were then taken to Boyson's police station. 2.7, the arrest.
Before you go there, those bags, when you saw them, the duffel bags, have you seen something similar before?
Yes, obviously. In my recent investigations and research, I had seen something similar before.
All right, thank you. And go to 2.6.
2.6. The instruction for my arrest was conveyed in my presence by General Firoz Khan. No reason for my arrest was provided to me at the scene, despite my inquiries. By the time I came into contact with Captain Sibula, my phones and car keys were long taken. And besides, Captain Sibula arrived much later at the scene. I only encountered him around 1:15 to 1:30. There was no way he could have seen the whole day I had been in the car without any movement. I was later formally charged upon arrival at Boyson's police station. On Sunday, just before one of the DPCI arresting team members took my warning statement, Captain Sibula requested to have a chat with me and asked that what really happened at the scene. I explained, and as I have explained above in 2.5, then he said that Warrant Officer Mukhana and Chief Mashaba had no business loading those bags behind the NP 300 buggy, and they shouldn't have protected, or they should have protected my identity as the informant. I told him that as soon as they get hold of the CCTV footage, it should clarify everything that happened at the scene. He also asked me about the 16th. I told him this was my traveling expenses and that acquiring technical intel almost always comes at a cost. And further, when I traveled following up on information, I do it discreetly with minimal footprints. 2.7. Upon getting bail, our phones were returned back around September. DPCI indicated that they were done with downloads and were content with the progress of the case. Upon receiving my phones, I started getting very odd calls from DPCI members requesting to meet, and that whenever I have information, I must consider them first. On 22nd July 2022, I had agreed to meet with Captain Dale Norki from DPCI SANEP at Moraka Police Station. I kept a record of my whereabouts when I agreed to meet and had decided to record, as I had an intuition that the case may form part of the conversation, and it was an opportunity to get to the truth regarding the games being played by the DPCI arresting team, having no regards for justice. While this was happening, I would have strange cars tailing me. Approximately on the 4th of July 2023, while busy with church-related engagements in the Meatin area and Vereeniging area, I was stopped by individuals who identified themselves as members of crime intelligence. They were driving 3 unmarked vehicles fitted with blue lights, namely a BMW 3 Series, a Golf 7, and a Toyota GD6. 2 of them, the men drove in the Isuzu KB300 buggy, which I was driving in, and instructed me to sit at the back of the floor in between the seats. I was transported to an unknown residential property and questioned. I was instructed to hand over my mobile devices without being provided with any documentation or warrant. The individual who demanded my mobile device took instruction from a person on the call he made. As he demanded me to open my phone gallery, and he made a remark on the saying I found them. Oh, sorry, he made a remark on the call saying I found them. I was then asked if I had made any backups of the contents of my phone or of my mobile devices. I answered in the negative. One of the individuals made a remark that, do I think that I can send IP after the generals and get away with it? They also warned that they were watching my every move, and after several hours, I was then released. They dropped me off near the area where they found me.
Mr. Nku, before you go further, just on that paragraph, it sounds as if you were kidnapped here. Is that a fair understanding?
That's a fair understanding of what had transpired.
Did you manage to open a case against some of these guys?
I didn't open a case, and I have my reasons, because when this incident happened, it was masqueraded as an investigation or a further investigation, because mostly I was questioned on the details pertaining to the scene and the acquisition of information. But ultimately, these individuals wanted my devices. And given the fact that I was threatened, particularly in relation to the knowledge of where my mother's house is. So, and being directed to the point that they are watching my every move, I was spooked to an extent, because I was not clear what was transpiring, because it didn't just seem like an ordinary thing, and I took the fact seriously that these people are dangerous, and that's why at the time the only person I notified was my attorney, picking his brains regarding seeking legal advice, that what would be a recourse for something like this, because I don't know whether it's a proper investigation or it's outright thuggery, but these people did seem serious, and they were threatening. Okay.
So apart from informing your attorney, then that was the end of it.
Yes, I didn't open the case at the times, and I read it.
All right. No, thank you. We can proceed to, I think you were going to page 6 at 2.8, ne?
2.8, yes. I attached a separate analysis report of former NDPP Advocate Ronnie de Kock, and a report identifying material contradictions between the versions of SAPS officials involved in the General Khan's disciplinary hearing, which I respectfully submit undermine the credibility of their version of events. This underlines how they may have deliberately misled the chairperson of the hearing.
Okay, and then, Mr. Nku, you've made reference to 2 items to your statement. I think they are both self-explanatory, unless there's something else that you wish to point out. No. From those items. I would suggest that we move to your second statement, but obviously feel free to highlight if you wish to highlight anything from those two documents.
Okay, maybe
What do you want to do?
Sorry, Chair?
What do you want to do? Can you proceed to the second statement?
Yes. Let's proceed because these ones are self-explanatory.
Thank you. Then let's continue with the same exercise where you start reading.
Have you found it, Mr. Nku, your second?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you.
Yes, let's continue with the same exercise where you start reading into the record your supplementary statement.
Okay. So
you can read into the record, yes, yeah.
Okay. This is my supplementary statement. Addressing questions raised during consultation with the evidence leaders. In relation to what is it that I do, I am an entrepreneur involved in various entities with diverse business interests across multiple sectors, including cyber solutions, sales, consignment management, business consulting, mining, and sourcing funding for infrastructural development throughout Africa. Company names will be added as an annexure, fearing reputational damage due to the controversy surrounding my name at this juncture. I have done work for other intelligence agencies. I am prepared to testify and divulge all the information relating to the type of work performed only if that bit of testimony is done in camera. My primary areas of proficiency are software development, coding, and cyber offensive. As a software developer and cybersecurity practitioner, I have frequently undertaken cyber intelligence consultations and provided both offensive and defensive cybersecurity solutions to various entities. My work also included the real-time tracking of information in support of law enforcement investigations. Number 2, how do I receive information? I receive information through a variety of sources. At times, information is obtained through an informal network that my cyber team and I have cultivated over several years. As one is a member of an onion-based cyber forum, COHEAD, which consists of a handful of technocrats who often pursue exchange information with intelligence institutions. In other instances, private investigators and business people may approach me seeking assistance in following up on specific intelligence, and the subsequent data analysis may lead to the discovery of additional information.